outer space. How can you define it? What is outer space? Outer space, exactly. And what is it? Well, it's space that starts from the surface of the Earth and extends infinitely. We don't know the limit of the outer space. What does it consist of? Empty space. And that is a puzzle. Why do people explore this empty space? Do you know? Any ideas? Why do we need it? It's practically mostly empty. Nothing special. But there are several explanations. We dream about this space. We dream about it since our prehistory. What is there? Can you see in this picture? What is that? Universe. It's a galaxy. It's our galaxy we belong to. What is the name of this galaxy? Milky Way. You like this sweet Milky Way? It is it. Milky Way. So our Earth is in this galaxy. And we look at it when we look in the night sky and we enjoy the views. We dream about it. We want to explore, we want to travel. We want to live there. It's empty. There is nothing, but we want to live there. We want to settle down there. Yes? We are tired of living in a house that looks like this. And we dream about some people who would meet us somewhere over there. We believe in the extraterrestrial intelligence. What is that? Внеземной разум. Yes. We dream about people like us. We want to have a look. What do they look like? Whether we can be friends or whether we will be enemies. Yes? And that is only dream. That was only dreams. But besides that, space is communication. Now we use it extensively via satellites to realize all these technologies, smartphones, computers, everything. Without it, we can do nothing nowadays. Yes? And what is more important, if we want to survive as a nation, as a country, we need aerospace forces for national defense, for national security. And we have such forces nowadays. So you can see satellites, they are military satellites, as you can see, yes, and space flight control systems that VOENMEH contributed a lot to creation. That is very important. So as you can see, space, outer space, is very important for humans. It's not only part of our dreams, but it's part of our life nowadays. And since the middle of the 20th century, we studied a space race. And our main competitor was and is what country? The USA, exactly. We started this competition after the Second World War, and though there was a period when it seemed to finish, it's not finished. We're still on that race. We are in that race, and we want to win. Well, in 1955, the USA declared that they will launch the first satellite, Earth satellite. Well, we didn't say anything, but in October 1957, it was the Soviet Union that launched the first satellite. Well, what happened with the USA? The people, they were greatly disappointed, greatly frustrated. And there was an article in the Herald Tribune newspaper. You can see it is Russia, not the United States, who has had the imagination to hitch this wagon to the stars. And the skill to reach for the moon and all OUTERSPACE. America is worried. should be a worry. They were treated this way. They didn't expect the Soviet Union to do anything like that. They didn't believe in our technology, in our science. They thought that the Soviet Union was in absolute ruin, and there was no education, nothing. But it was our country that did the first thing. What happened in December 1957, the same year, just in 2 months? They tried to do the same, but they failed. The rocket exploded, and there were very funny publications in American newspapers where they called this Vanguard, that was the rocket they called Vanguard, which they called Flopnik, which means what? Flop. So our satellite flopped down. Stay Putnik, don't move, remain. Oh, come to here. So the Americans were greatly disappointed. And early in February 1958, Explorer 1 was a successful launch. So they lagged behind for 6 months. Yes. Well, here you can see very proudly, here is a list of our achievements, starting with the 50s and through the 60s. And each new flight was something first. It's a list of firsts. First of all, the first Sputnik or satellite. Then it was the first manned launch. Then there were first crewed launches, etc., etc. And the American scientists and technologists were trying to catch up. So we were leaders indeed. Yep. So these are the USA achievements, similar to ours, but we were slightly several months or even years behind us. So we were the winners. Unfortunately, until the moon mission. Yeah? Now, let's continue. That is our greatest achievement. We celebrated yesterday on the 12th of April. Vostok 1 and Yuri Gagarin. What did Gagarin do? He was on board and he did an orbital flight. An orbital means that he circled around the whole Earth. He started in the Soviet Union, he launched, and then he landed on the land of the Soviet Union. His flight lasted for 108 minutes. Well, the Americans and Alan Shepard, who was on board, managed to do something similar only a month later, 3 weeks later. But Alan Shepard was not an orbital flight. It was a suborbital flight. It was a ballistic trajectory. He launched on the territory of the United States and, like a missile, flew over a trajectory and landed on the territory of the United States. It was not an orbital flight. So you can see what great deeds our scientists and our cosmonauts did. Yeah? Because John Glenn, who was the first who did this orbital flight, managed his flight only in 1962. Only in 1962. So that's why we celebrate this Gagarin missions. Now, a little bit about him. It was a great event. Well, Yuri Gagarin realized human dreams, yes, and he showed that our Soviet science and technology were great. Well, when he did it on the April 12th, the whole world was excited. He became the first spaceman, yeah, and his popularity was so great that in 2 weeks he was sent on a peace mission, Missия Mira, yes. His mission lasted for 2 years, and he visited 30 countries. You can see how people met him in Czechoslovakia, in Cuba, lots of people, in Japan and India, and of course in Great Britain. And here we probably should stop and have a talk. Well, first of all, he was invited by Foundry Association, not by the official government, but by the Foundry Association, which is Ассоциация литейных работ. Why wasn't it? Because Gagarin, when he was a young man, he studied in a technical foundry school. So he started his career as a foundry worker. And as his popularity with the British people was so great, Elizabeth II also decided to meet him and invited him on an official ceremony. Well, he was invited to lunch. Yes, that is great for any common person, because the Queen is not allowed to meet common people just for nothing. Yes, and after his visit and his talk with the Queen, there were many different legends about that. Because, Gagarin was of humble origin. He was a simple, common person, and he didn't know anything about the protocol in the palace, in the royal palace. So when he was invited to the table, he saw a lot of cutlery near his plates. What is cutlery? Forks, spoons, knives. Yes, special knives for different dishes, special forks, and so on. And he didn't know which one to use. So, and he was a very nice man. He was a very charming man. He enchanted everybody. He took one spoon and said, "Well, the village I'm from, everybody uses this one, only spoon, ложка, yes?" And he took the dish he wanted himself with the spoon onto his plate. Do you know what the Queen said? Because everybody was shocked. It was against protocol. It wasn't possible. But the Queen said, "Well, I was born in the Buckingham Palace, but I don't know myself which spoon and fork to use with each dish. So my servants usually help me." She also took the spoon and did everything Gagarin did. So whether it was true or not, there were more legends about his visit, but this is repeated in many newspapers. It was fun. But even now, in March, on the 14th of March 2021, Elizabeth, it's just a month ago, Elizabeth II participated in one conference, scientific conference. It was a Zoom video conference, and she talked to young scientists. And one of the young scientists asked her about her memoirs of Gagarin, because this young scientist said that she was herself very much under Gagarin's impression. And the Queen said, "Well, he looked Russian, typically Russian." And what she added was, what impressed her about Gagarin was Gagarin knew that his life was under great risk. Nobody could say whether he would return or not. And still, he agreed to go on that mission. She said he was a very brave man, and she respected and still respects him for that. So our achievements were great. Now, how did America react to Gagarin's achievements? Badly. They were greatly frustrated. Well, Alan Shepard, I told you that he did his flight 3 weeks after Gagarin, 3 weeks later. He was woken at 4 o'clock in the morning, and he was informed about Gagarin's flight. he was absolutely frustrated. He didn't know what to say, and he said, it couldn't be, it couldn't be. And then he said, it could have been me there 3 weeks ago, because there had been some plans, American plans, to launch their satellite a bit earlier, but because of some broken system, this flight was delayed. And so Alan Shepard couldn't be the first spaceman, but Gagarin was. Well, here is Kennedy, who greeted Shepard after his flight, and it was Kennedy, you know, John Kennedy, a famous American president, who started this NASA program in 1962. He understood that this race couldn't be won without such a program. And now you can see that everything in this museum, everything you will see in their departments you will go just now, ensured this launches, these flights, these explorations of space. Yes. Well, and this is a repetition of what you showed. Yes. Here are again our cosmonauts, and here is the picture of the cosmonaut candidate. Yes, I declared to be the candidate only 3 months ago. Well, and so this is what our university does. Okay, I want only to add one more picture, please. Over 85% of young graduates find their jobs with different defense technological and civil technological companies. That's a very great percent, and that is very practical to think about. Graduates, выпускники. 85% выпускников вуза находят работу сразу. That's great. Now, who can tell me, why do we need English here? Come here. All right. Next time we'll meet, you will tell me. Thank you.